and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 122 of the TheSeezusShow. It's your boy Sirseezus, and I am back with the co-host Terrence Whaley.
What up? What up?
It's been what, 2 weeks since we recorded the last podcast?
Yeah, probably 2 weeks. Yeah,
a little bit before Halloween, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's been a little while since some traction's been made. Actually, a lot of traction's been made as well too, which we'll get into for a little bit before I get into the latest, hottest topics for this episode. I just want to rehash episode 21. So on episode 21, we got the official release of my co-host Terrence Whaley's app that is available on all platforms called Barter Sneaker Trading app. Make sure you guys go and check that out right now.
Go get it.
So among other things, obviously in the NBA, we talked about Lakers not so hot start, Russ's awful start, Cat calling out Ant, Ben Simmons' poor start to the season, the pacing of the game, Blazers and Utah's hot start, power rankings, and much, much more. But before we get into the hottest topics, I want to officially introduce my co-host, Terrence Whaley.
What's good, Seezus? How you doing, brother?
I've been good, man. I've been good. I think I'm on a 15-day streak now with Duolingo, so it's been going pretty well.
Okay,
and like I said,
I
I'm trying
to.
and like I said, I'm trying to. The goal right now is to try to attempt to watch one foreign film that obviously is specialized in Spanish a week. So one of the weeks I watched Platform on Netflix, which was pretty good.
Okay.
And then I watched another movie. What's it called? I'm going blank right here. It's called City of God. That came out like in 2003 or something like that.
Okay,
as well,
and
too.
you doing without the subtitles?
I'm doing it with the subtitles because I'm still on the very, very beginner stages. But
Gotcha.
It's nice to kind of link the words, with what's on TV and what's being said and whatnot. So that's been pretty good and whatnot. So
and I think I seen you on IG doing some modeling stuff. What you on with that?
So one thing I want to kind of get back into is modeling as well too. I did a lot of that back when I was on the East Coast, and I really haven't found a thing over there. So right now what I'm trying to do is basically just get myself to get exposed to different small companies, and basically from there kind of build up my portfolio and then release myself out into these bigger agencies and whatnot as well too. So that's been going pretty good. And then, slowly working on some mock-ups for the merch that I'm trying to get ready for next year. So I'll actually show you some mock-ups that I have, and you can tell me which ones you like and whatnot as well too. But what's good with you, man? You going to Joshua Tree and whatnot?
Yeah, man. Taking the shorty to Joshua Tree. Me and my girlfriend, we're going to spend like a weekend out there this Saturday or this Friday actually. Gonna take her up there, and I got a few surprises for her. We've been wanting to take like a little mini vacation, so definitely gonna take her out, have a good time. But right now, mostly my life has been like I've been saying about like new chapters and like just getting into new stuff. So I'm actually getting ready to move from Ladera Heights, which is like over in Inglewood area, LA, to Echo Park here. I get on this side of town, and just explore a new neighborhood in LA. I feel like I've been here. It was 4 years in August, so just trying to tap into a new side of the city, and see like what I can run into out here too. So.
Proud of you. Mm-hmm. Came a long way as well too, and obviously
sure.
I'm gonna be there next week to get my free meal. I'm kidding. Even if it wasn't for no free meal, that just kind of entices me. I would still help you regardless.
For sure, man. You always gotta have strong hands around to help a brother move. So I appreciate you.
Okay. So we can go ahead and get started into this interesting episode. So the elephant in the room, Kyrie Irving has been all over every type of platform that you can kind of think of, whether it's social media, the sports world, the politics world, every form of media. He's kind of been on as well too. And why has he, kind of been all over the place is because he went on his social media and posted a documentary called Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. And it's a documentary that's essentially on Amazon Prime. I thought it was free at first. I actually had to hit up Terrence. I was like, "Yo, how you like? We got this sites for for basketball, the sports and whatnot. But how you get this? Because I'm literally going through all my back pockets and couldn't find it. You're like, yeah, man, you just gotta cough up that $12. And I was like, okay, man, we'll see what's good. So I had to be honest with you guys. I only watched about an hour and a half of the documentary as well too. So hour into the documentary, the narrator, the director, whatever you want to call him, uses a lot of biblical scriptures, writings, language crossover, forms of DNA to basically impose his opinion that black people came from Israel and ended up, all over the world because of slavery. So ended up basically getting scattered across there, and that the modern day Jews that we see, the white Jews, are not the original Jews. So I still have like about an hour and a half left, and obviously it goes deeper. But from what I saw, I guess the anti-Semitism I'm seeing now is denying the white Jews of the true Jews, of being the true Jews of Israel. But I actually did a little bit more research, and I guess I'm going to finish it regardless. But I did a little bit more research, and I actually kind of copied and pasted a couple things right here too. It says that the film also amplifies long-standing anti-Semitic tropes about Jewish power, control, and greed, including false claims that Jews control the media and disputes the identity of modern Jews, claiming they are religious converts who descended from the Khazars and have no historical connection to the land of Israel. To support his claim, the film cites statements from prominent anti-Semites and notorious anti-Semitic texts as supposed evidence of true nature and the identity of Jewish people. For example, the film includes passages from Henry Ford's An International Jew and two purported through seemingly fabricated quotations of Adolf Hitler. And then it says here, the film also advertises the book on which it's based, which features even more explicit anti-Semitism, including quotes from the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a longer passage of Holocaust denial, attacks on Zionism, conspiratorial claims about the Rothschild, and much, much more as well too. So because of this, Kyrie Irving took a lot of slack, and basically was called, anti-Semitic as well too. He had a couple interviews to kind of basically clear the air with everything, but Kyrie can be a little bit stubborn and try his best to kind of decipher things in a way where he doesn't answer but answer at the same time. And because of that, he got suspended 5 games minimum. And I also believe he had to cough up $500K, and then I also came with like a list of demands as well too. So the list of the demands are a little crazy. So the list right here, reported to by Shams, is he has to, 1, apologize and condemn the movie. He has to donate $500K donation to anti-hate causes. He has to be a part of a sensitivity training, anti-Semitic training, meet with the ADL Jewish leaders, and meet with the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, Joe Tsai, to demonstrate his understanding of everything as well too. And one of the last quotes we heard from Kyrie Irving is they kept asking him, are you anti-Semitic? Are you anti-Semitic? He literally was like, I can't be anti-Semitic because I know where I come from. And in the movie, basically, like I said, if in his mind, even though he didn't publicly say it, based on what I've seen from the movie, if blacks are the bloodline he's from, which are the blacks that are original people from Israel, then he's technically Jewish, and he technically isn't anti-Semitic as well too. But I've known Kyrie, or followed Kyrie, for a long time, and I don't really get that from him. But he has to realize he's in a position of power. He's basically, in the sense of, as far as the basketball universe goes, he's kind of a global icon. So you really got to be careful with what you post, because whatever you post, there's going to be a lot of viewers, and people are going to dive into it as well too. Part of me thinks that he didn't watch it in its entirety, and part of me feels like, how you have some of your friends be like, yo, can you like retweet something for me? Can you post something for me? I feel like there's two. I feel like it's two things. I feel like it's one, like me, because for 3 hours, I can't even watch a 3-hour movie. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm like, yo, I think this dude literally watched like probably what I watched, and he was like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of makes sense, based on this information. And I think he posted it and just didn't realize what was gonna happen with the backlash. And he's one of those people who doesn't like to be proven wrong. So when he had that original interview, I think he was just like
standing on it
as well too. But
I mean, I just want to, well, first I've been I guess obviously like just seeing the whole landscape and watching the story develop over the last week. And I first want to preface my comments by saying obvious. I don't speak for UCs, but obviously I know you as a man and I know you as a person. We are not anti-Semitic, so any of the views that we have or we speak to today, like we are not
at all
coming at any type of sideways towards Jewish people, and seeing where Kyrie stands on the matter as far as like where he believes the original black man comes from. Like, it's very interesting. Like, it was eye-opening, the story as it developed last week, to see it from a fan of the NBA, but also a fan of Kyrie Irving, to like see like what his stance was on it. And that was the first thing. And then obviously the backlash came of the interviews that he was getting either post game or pre game.
Yeah.
From I think it's the ESPN reporter Alex. I forgot his last name. I think it's Alex Friedel.
Nick Friedel.
Yeah, Nick Friedel. Basically coming at him with the anti-Semitic comments, and that made me go and do like the research on the documentary myself. And I was like, well, damn, like, yeah, you can't post a link or share a link to a video if you haven't really seen the whole thing. And I agree on your point that like he probably didn't see the whole thing. He probably saw the title and was like, okay, let me tap in for a little bit. Oh, I got a game tomorrow. Let me turn this off or whatever. But like, he does have to own the fact that like, if he didn't realize that there were some deeply anti-Semitic views in that documentary, he does have to own up to that. But I want it to be clear because I seen a lot of discourse about this, from friends of mine that I follow on Twitter that I know personally. I seen, obviously senior writers on ESPN, Yahoo, everybody's speaking about the matter. I just wanted to be clear, like, where I stand on it is I respect Kyrie for, either believing that he feels like the original black man does come from Israel. Like, that's something to stand on. Like, we, if he feels like that's what the case is, then, I support him in that, because he was also very supportive in his Native American roots. And I gotta know that that's important to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think to your point about like, you gotta be able to know before you post. You gotta be able to do that. So that was the only thing I was really disappointed in him in the whole situation so far, anyway.
Exactly, and he had two chances to clear everything as well too.
Mm-hmm.
He could have admitted to what he did, and it just came off with those two post game and pre game interviews. He just came off as a little dismissive, and he also came off.
He come off as like the little brother that like don't want to own up to like the fact that his big brother is right. Like like that's kind of how it comes off to me.
Yeah, and he came off as insensitive as well too.
And I mean he was getting hate from both sides. I seen black people being mad at him, saying like, "Oh, are you ashamed that you feel like black people don't come from Africa?" Like, I saw people coming at him from both sides of the table this week. So that's why I'm like, damn. Like, I feel like when you sent me that Jay Williams, video today, I was like, it's good to have that side of the conversation, but nobody want to have that type, side of the conversation. Everybody wants their opinion to be what's right, and it's such a sticky conversation. It's like all Kyrie trying to say is like, well, I don't want to speak for Kyrie actually, but what I could think that he's trying to say is like, look, I just think that this is a new conversation that I'd like to start, and that's why I tweeted it out. But he fucked up because he didn't know. Or he should have known, all of what it entailed. Basically.
Yeah, should have as well too. Because I mean, yeah, it's just a tough thing to kind of deal with as well too. But hopefully he's kind of learned from that. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as, because like even Jay Williams or other outlets have kind of been saying, all right, like this is where it's kind of in the sense about breaking in all that as well too. So. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, what he has to do to return the team, apologizing in the movie, find a K donation to anti-hate causes, sensitivity training, anti-Semitic training, meet with the ADL Jewish leaders, meet with Joe's side to demonstrate understanding. What are your thoughts on that, if you have any? Like, do you think that is warranted for him to return, especially when we've seen a lot of things in the sports world, outside of sports world, where we've kind of let things slide? Or I know I can only speak for myself as a black male. I'm just very forgiving as well too, and I use every lesson as a learning lesson. Like, do you think the repercussions were justified?
I don't think they're justified, because even though like when Nick asked him the question about are you anti-Semitic and he didn't say yes or no, he clearly in his answer said, I cannot be anti-Semitic. Like, that to me comes off as positive. Like I'm not saying like anything negative about, or trying to be anti-Semitic. And the way they ran with the report after that, and what it seems like is coming from the NBA's camp, is that we think that he has anti-Semitic views, and this is why we're going through the training. Because if they didn't feel that way, then I don't think they would added that onto the punishment. Usually they just give a fine, and then it's like, okay, you'll miss some games, you won't get this game check, and that'll be it. But it seems like they're trying to educate him, which kind of goes into the deeper story about the internet, saying, we trying to show this, quote unquote slave, like that you can't act out like this, So that's why I feel like, now like the player or the NBA Players Association trying to step in, and whatever your thoughts are on that. But like, I think it's definitely trying to it's giving like, let's show it this an example of like what you do when you piss off the wrong people. Shit.
That's crazy. I just feel like, if that's gonna happen, we just need to hold everything and everyone else accountable for their actions as well too. But like I said, that's not kind of warranted, which leads me into my next topic. The NBA Players Association expects to appeal Kyrie Irving's suspension term. So Jaylen Brown came out, and obviously he's the vice president of the NBPA, said that the Players Union is not comfortable with the conditions placed by the Brooklyn Nets on Kyrie Irving's return from his suspension. The Nets 6 guidelines Irving must meet before he can return to the club. I already mentioned that. Blah, 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 blah. Brown told Globe Monday morning that the NBPA believes those conditions are too stringent, especially when there's no guideline that addresses social media posts in the collective bargaining agreement. He said the NBA Players Association expected to appeal, and then quoted, "I don't believe Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic." Brown said, "I don't think people in our governing bodies think he's anti-Semitic. He made a mistake. We understand from an outside perspective how importantly sensitivity is to not condone hate speech and not condone anything of that nature. It's sensitivity to the dialect around that. We don't want to stand up for somebody in order to not condemn hate speech, but I don't believe Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic, and hopefully the NBA feels the same way." Brown said Irving's future and how the league approaches the issue of the expression on social media could be clarified after Irving's meeting with Silver as well, too. What are your thoughts on the Players Association essentially being his representative on trying to appeal this egregious, set of guidelines he has to do in order to come back on the floor?
So I respect Jaylen Brown a lot for stepping up and saying that, because I feel like, especially in the time of, I don't know if it comes across as standing up for Kyrie Irving, but either way, like it is very touchy to, either appear like you're not supporting, but at least trying to defend him or, try to stand with him on like the fact that the punishment was too much. I respect Jaylen Brown and the Players Association for standing up and making that, statement. And it's a slippery slope, see, because it's like, somebody watching this, or like, someone that, has a favorable opinion on, Kyrie not being anti-Semitic. It's like, well, to someone who is a part of the Jewish community, they could say, well, you know what, like, it offended me, so that to me makes it anti-Semitic. So like, that's hard. I can't speak on that. I really don't know. But like, when it comes to the Players Association, I think that they did the right thing because of just like what you said. It's not written in the guidelines to punish something of this nature of a social media post. That's what it said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, then to me, this type of punishment is unprecedented when it comes to this particular situation. It again just seems like that there's some appeasing going on, and that is wrong because it's like trying to make an example out of something that doesn't have a clear punishment in the rule book. That's all.
It's crazy. And I also wonder too, just from your opinion, do you think they wait for the NBA Players Association to basically have that ongoing conversation and be a representative of Kyrie before he hits the floor, or do you think he's going to be like, fuck it, I'm going to take care of these 6 boxes and try to get back on the floor?
From what I know about Kyrie Irving, he's definitely not doing that. Like Kyrie is the type that he's going to like. This is a different like side than a basketball question, but like I don't think Kyrie Irving gives a damn about playing for the Brooklyn Nets going forward. Because it sounds like during the whole situation this past week, he didn't answer Joe's text messages. Like it doesn't seem like he's really in a rush at all. And I mean, I know he just lost the Nike or the Nike deal was suspended, but it seems like he got bread because he's pissing off a lot of bread right now. And he seems like it's like, I'm good. I don't need these game checks right now. Like it, so it seems like he will take his time and try to work with the Players Association because the ultimate win for Kyrie is to be able to say, okay, yeah, I did wrong, but I won in a way that I didn't have to do these punishments to appease the quote unquote, the man.
Mm-hmm. The man. I like that too. Yeah, I really wish he watched, the entirety of it as well too, So, because I think the biggest point he's just trying to make is just to kind of open your eyes, and for people that don't have a clear context of their lineage, just to kind of do research on your own. I think that was basically the point of everything, but there's always going to be some, backlash that kind of comes with it as well, too. So we're going to continue to monitor that situation and still, I guess, stick on Kyrie for a little bit as well, too. You just kind of pointed that he seems fine, financially satisfied with what he has, saying obviously he loves the game and he knows he's going to come back, but why not, take it day by day and whatnot as well, too. Do you think that it's coming to a point not only for the Brooklyn Nets, but for teams that decide to, in the future, invest into Kyrie Irving? Do you think that Kyrie is going to become more hurt than harm for the Nets organization or just future organizations within the NBA?
You mean like is the money that the organization would pay Kyrie worth it?
Worth it, yeah.
Honestly, bro, I think like I was saying with the Nike suspension, like I think that's kind of sounding the alarm that it is going to be more damage. He's damaged goods more so than a great player on the floor. Because at the end of the day, like, and the NFL did not a great job. Whoa, NFL set an example of how to blackball a player. You know what I mean, or an athlete. So like, not that because the NBA is obviously a lot more progressive, but at the end of the day, the owners. And I'm not sure about this percentage, but I saw something on the internet where it said that either 60% or above of the NBA owners are Jewish. So I don't know if I'm not sure if that's true or anything.
I feel like I heard that somewhere too.
Okay, well, but like again, if it's about if it does come down to a situation like that, I could very well see this being the last straw for Kyrie Irving in a way of pissing off the wrong people and then getting blackballed in the league. Do I think it's the right thing? No, because I'm again, from a viewer's perspective, someone being non-Jewish, it looked to me like he was trying to be respectful enough to say, hey, like I have a thought about where I come from. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to piss y'all off, but like I put this out to my following because this is what I believe in and I wanted to share it. That's kind of how it came off to me. But again, it comes off differently to other people. Do I think that this should be something that results in him getting blackballed from the league? No. I think he's way well worth a max contract. Obviously, he's not going to get that.
Only 1-year deals probably.
Yeah, it'll be a 1-year deal. But he's definitely worth the money. Will it affect some of the owners' bottom lines? It may be, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think so. I think Kyrie puts asses in seats a lot like Zion Williamson, a lot like Giannis, a lot like LeBron.
Yeah, and I'm sad. I'm going to the Brooklyn Nets game on Saturday, and I'm not gonna see him.
So,
and I gotta wait till next year.
One of my homies lives in DC, and he was like, "I bought a ticket to the Wizards game. I wanted to go see that. He wasn't there either. So it's like, people want to see Kyrie dribble the rock.
Office, yeah,
So
That's crazy. And what's also crazy too is like I haven't really. Maybe I'm just not. Maybe my algorithms are just not like up to par. But I haven't really been seeing a lot of people blast also Amazon for even allowing that content to be up there and applicable because they're still making money off of it.
yeah.
You got people like you and I who, like I said, we do not agree with what is being said in the movie towards Jewish people and whatnot as well too. But that has our eyes kind of our eyes and our mind curious to at least click at the CEO, like, what is this actually about? Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of crazy how like I haven't seen that backlash.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like Amazon has had. I mean, from what I've seen, Amazon get is the unions fighting over like work conditions as far as like the factories is concerned, the factory workers.
Mm-hmm.
But I've not seen any fallout from Amazon, be detrimental to the company. So even if there were, I don't think like it'd last a week and people will be, on to their next thing to be mad about.
Mm. Yeah, it's just crazy how all this could have been prevented, but I feel like everything happens for a reason. So we'll see what happens with that as well too. So transitioning from, this pretty crucial topic, but still staying on the Nets as well too. I mean, they're 11th in the Eastern Conference right now. They're 4-7. They're 21st overall in the NBA, 12th in points allowed, 20 in points per game. With all this, kind of happening, there's still a level of uncertainty with the coaching and whatnot. Should they, in fact, blow it up too?
Yes. Yes, their second best player right now is Ben Simmons. You should definitely blow the team up for sure. It is a young man's league right now, and the Nets don't have draft picks. The Houston Rockets have them. So you have Kevin Durant. How old is Kevin now? 32, something like that. 32?
Hold on, they don't have draft picks from Ben Simmons too. The trade.
You mean like did they get draft picks back when they traded James Harden?
Yeah, for Ben Simmons. Then they get Ben Simmons, Seth, and then some draft picks.
Oh, I don't remember them getting draft picks
Maybe
back.
they did. I don't know.
I just remember how many they sent away to get James Harden originally.
Yeah. Okay.
So Houston, I know, has those. But anyway, like I was saying, it's a young man's league. You have Ja, you have Luka, you have fucking even Darius Garland. Like you've got these younger pieces, and like I don't see Kevin Durant and the Nets winning in the next 2-3 years, just like I don't see the Lakers winning in the next 2-3 years. It's time for you to like save yourself before that Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett situation happens all over again, where it's like you fall over yourself trying to chase playoffs or even just relevancy, and you end up with no future. So I think the Nets could very easily like give in to what Kevin Durant asked for. I don't see them buying out Kyrie Irving in his contract, but like just send him home and don't re-sign him next year. And I mean, I don't know what you can get for Ben Simmons, but like you could get a draft haul for Kevin Durant. Somebody will give if the Minnesota Timberwolves got Utah all them draft picks, I know Kevin Durant will get 5 at least.
The thing that just sucks though about trading for Kevin Durant, you go gut your roster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can't really trade him.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you want to be a middle tier team, the team that trades for him.
Yeah, well,
or I guess a superstar swap, like let's say hypothetically speaking, like Jaylen Brown for KD with like 2-3 future first round draft picks. You get a young superstar plus future draft picks. Mm-hmm. That's the only scenario that I kind of see.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. I don't know what they could do. I don't know. The landscape of the NBA right now is a little weird, but I think they do need to blow it up just because again they have another distraction, albeit Kyrie Irving. You have a player that doesn't want to play basketball. He wants to be a model. Ben Simmons wants to be a model. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not taking him seriously.
I read a stat. He's averaging more turnovers than shot attempts.
There's this parlay app that me and my homies use called Prize Picks. Shout out to Prize Picks. Hey, if y'all want to sponsor the podcast, let us know. But Prize Picks, they have this over under on Ben Simmons all the time. It's like 7.5 points. He always goes under. Like, that's the easiest parlay you could pick. Ben Simmons is not a real basketball player, bro. He gets the ball and just, no, I'm not even gonna get into it. You need to trade him. You need to blow it up, bro, and get the draft picks back and just just hope that you get a Ja Morant, a Luka Doncic from overseas. Like, just start over. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, like, they're not making the playoffs, dog. They're not making the playoffs with that roster.
Yeah, and the East is just getting better. Like, this is the best form of balance that we've had in both conferences.
Shout out to the Cavs, man. Y'all making me look good right now on my picks. Shout out to the Cavs.
Hey, I mean, we might as well go into the Cavs right now. So the last time we were on here, we were saying, who are the dark horses, X, Y, and Z? And I want to just impose this question on you. I mean, the Cavs are 8-2. Their only losses have been decided by 2.5 points. They have a great mix of veterans with young talent that can play for years to come with Mitchell, Garland, LeVert, Mobley, Allen, Love, D. Wade, etc. Notable wins they had this year was against the Celtics twice in overtime, against the Bulls, against the Knicks. They're number 3 in points allowed at 105. They're number 1 in point differential, so they'd be winning by an average of 11 points. They're top 10 in points per game, top 10 in field goal percentage, and top 10 in rebounds. I mean, is it even safe to say that they are the dark horse, right? They're still a dark horse right now. Like, I at this point, I just expect them to be a top 2-3 seed when it's all said and done in the Eastern Conference and get to the conference finals at this point.
Yeah, I'm always the type to wait until after Christmas Day. Like, I've always
not even after trade deadline.
So I usually kind of feel like I know which teams are legit, like, right after Christmas Day.
Okay.
Like, usually, obviously, like, the bigger name teams play on Christmas Day, but, like, up to that point, it's about 25 games.
It's pretty good sample size.
Like, it's a good where I can, like, tell, like, okay, which players are going to carry their organizations throughout the season. Are those players durable? Do I think that they can get through, and win the games that are needed to be a top seed in the East and West? And honestly, Donovan and Darius Garland, like, that's a great backcourt to get you through a regular season, but also to get good shots in a playoff series. So I like Cleveland as a dark horse. The reason why I think that they're a dark horse still is because I didn't really see anybody nationally kind of like acknowledge them as much. So they're still my dark horse in the East. Out West, it's still kind of murky. I'm really not sure. I mean, I was upset because I really thought. I don't even want to say this, but I was going to give Minnesota like a little chance because of what they showed me last year. But them guys, they're a joke. I don't know why you traded for Rudy Gobert, but anyway. But yeah, my West pick is still kind of up in the air. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah. No, the Cavs should be the Cap. And the thing is, with the level of uncertainty that's going on in the NBA, like we're going to talk about a little bit later with the Warriors or the Clippers or the Lakers, the Miami Heat, like these teams, we're not used to these teams playing like this. So it's very good that they are basically one up on all these teams as well too. So they can afford in the future to sit out a couple games, to rest towards the end of the season as well too. They really light years ahead right now as far as the record goes as well too. So that's going to be interesting. But I'm still curious to see with those two guys in the backcourt that are not necessarily known for their defense, how is that going to pan out in a 7-game series when you go up against the Boston Celtics? Obviously, you don't got Ime Udoka, but they can lean on their experience, or like the Greek Freak, or if Miami, starts to get it together as well too. How are they going to fare when they get put on islands in the fourth quarter, when you just lean to your superstar, one-on-one, get the mismatch, get the bucket, or draw enough attention to get the open shot to someone else. So it's going to be interesting to see them guard from a defensive standpoint in a 7-game series.
Yeah, I could definitely see, just off the top of my head, Milwaukee being the problem, that they'll run into. And there's nothing you can do about that. All the East teams that were good when LeBron was in the East, like obviously you got Toronto.
Seems like years ago.
The Hawks, like you just run into a player that's just insurmountable, dominance. I could see that happening to them, even though they have a great roster. I could definitely see Chris Middleton, like, abusing them. So, so yeah, to your point, like they could definitely lose to Milwaukee, but hey, sometimes the right shot falls sometimes, and you can win. You can steal a game one, like, and you never know what happens in that type of situation. So, we'll see. But yeah, I agree. Defensively, they will be challenged.
Shout out to the GM for the Cavs, man.
Yeah,
I got to see them live the other day against the Clippers, and they are a great basketball team. And Donovan Mitchell, take away the defense, he literally looks like if D-Wade had a kid that's in the NBA. That's him right there. A dream matchup that I kind of want to see, because a lot of people are saying, like, is this the new best backcourt? I want to see them go up against Trae Young and DeJounte Murray in the 7-game series, like a first-round matchup, like a 3 versus 6 seed or something like that. I think that would be fire. And shout out to DeJounte Murray, man. I miss you from the San Antonio Spurs, but had to let you go because we trying to take and get a good and get that good pick in Victor, man. But that would be a great series, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I would like to see that. I know, Trae obviously got that competitive fire in him. Obviously, I'd like to see the Knicks theatrics again, but they're not even looking good either. But we'll see. I think in that series though, I obviously take Cleveland. I think that they still have a lot more well-rounded players that I like more. But we'll see. I think Devontae had like 36 the other night. I think I looked like he's
against the Bucks.
He's ingratiating well, a lot faster than I thought he would too.
Without Trae.
Yeah. So I respect it.
Now, like you said, LeBron kind of dominated the East, obviously, for damn near a decade and some change and whatnot as well too. And it seems like now it's Giannis' league. With the Bucks being 9-1. Having no Middleton, who is their closer, who is what many would say is the second best player. No Joe Ingles still recovering from that, ACL injury. This year Giannis is averaging 32 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and shooting 54% from the field. And the Bucks are 9-1. I know it's kind of early; it's only been 10, 11 games, but could he possibly win his third MVP this year? Because I know last time we were talking about our top 5 MVP candidates and all that whatnot. You said, and which I agree with, there's a lot of the media goes with the narrative for the MVP, but do you think this is a good enough narrative to get him in that conversation to get that third MVP potentially?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the story's there for him to to obviously have this high of a record and maybe even finish with that the best record in the East, maybe even in the NBA. With part of the season going without your second best player, that's a great story. I just think it will be. I just think that it will be glaring the difference in talent between Milwaukee and the Mavericks and the numbers that Luka Doncic is putting up. That they will try to give, because they always do that. It's always like, yeah, we gave it to Giannis already. Let's give our first one to Luka. Yeah, it's obvious. Like that's usually they get voter fatigue, and I hate that. But I'm more so leaning on Luka. Like I like what I'm seeing from him in the very first 10 games of the season. But I do think that Giannis could obviously be in the voting, can finish top 3 for sure. I still think it's probably Luka, Giannis right now, and then Ja Morant still at the.
Ja's been he's been putting up his numbers, but I feel like the media has been like kind of quiet with him the last week or two.
That's the thing. It's like it's about how many nationally televised games you have, and then also just like Ja obviously has the wow factor. I watched the replay. He comes off from like the weak side to like completely obliterate some block shot that he had from like somebody coming into the lane. I was like, God damn. You're a point guard. What are you doing? But he definitely has that wow factor. Giannis has it too. Luka has it. So I think it's definitely them 3.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like I said, Dame just came back. And shout out to Dame in Portland. They're still playing very well. The young ones stepped up,
holding it down. I really like Shaedon Sharp's game, dog. Like he is.
Bounce is crazy.
I didn't get to see him play at Kentucky, obviously, because he just never. I think he was injured or whatever, but he never showed up to play at Kentucky. I didn't know his game was like that. I didn't really watch his high school highlights like that. But I didn't know he could get buckets the way he's getting them. He's going to be a star. I think like a 20, 25 points per game guy, bro. Like, I don't know how long. I mean, I guess Damian will get the grandfather treatment, in Portland and never get traded, kind of like Kobe in LA, which is crazy, especially in today's NBA. But I think once, if ever, Damian starts to come down a little, and Shaedon kind of usurps, because I like what I'm seeing from Anthony Simons as well, but I think Shaedon Sharp might have a little bit more, like just a little bit more than him, and I think he'll start to become like a franchise player for them. I think he's that good.
Interesting. And also shout out to De'Aaron Fox, man. Like you said, we don't really get to, unless you have League Pass or are a diehard fan, you're not watching these bottom tier / low market teams. We need to get De'Aaron Fox up out of the Sacramento Kings and go to a team like the Suns when Chris Paul old ass just can't play no more. Just right there with Devin Booker, which makes me go into my next topic. Suns Cam Johnson towards meniscus. So Cam Johnson underwent a successful meniscectomy procedure this past Tuesday on his right meniscus tear, suffered in Friday's loss to Portland of last week. According to Healthline.com, a meniscectomy procedure involves making a large incision that exposes the knee joint and removing the damaged part of the meniscus. The incision is sewn or stapled closed. Concerning the type of procedure, Johnson could be back in a couple of months, which is good news. The Suns haven't released a timetable on his return. Johnson has missed Phoenix's last 2 games. Right now, Phoenix is number 2 in the West at being 7-3. Cam Johnson's doing pretty well this year, averaging 13 points per game and shooting 43% from 3, playing that stretch 4 position. I think the only thing that kind of sucks is his contract year. But granted that he can come back, hopefully he can get the money that he's looking for as well too. So I guess my 2 questions for you is, how do you think the Suns is going to fare being a man down, being someone who's huge to, their championship aspirations? And obviously we heard about Jay Crowder. They just want to try to shop him and send him home. How do you think the Suns are going to fare? And then also, do you see a situation where they're like, actually, Jay Crowder, can we have you come back?
First and foremost, I want to
UNC, right?
Yo, you know me. Yeah, I got to tell you, bro. Hey, I'm feeling bad for my fellow Tar Heel, Cam Johnson. Get back right, man. You are a crazy good shooter, bro. You are very, very missed, I know, in the Phoenix Suns offense. And shout out to Carolina. We won last night.
VCU won too by like 18.
In the opener. Shout out UNC Wilmington. That was a great game. But yeah, I mean, as far as like how they will fare, they'll miss him. I think they play better chemistry wise when he's on the floor. I can see like the ball pop a little bit faster. I do not think Jay Crowder will come back. I do think that relationship is tarnished. Yeah. I think I saw like earlier in the season, Chris Haynes had reported like one of their games when they were on I think it was on ESPN or TNT. He had reported like the reason why he not playing with the team isn't because he wasn't starting, but I'm thinking that's a lie. I think once Cam Johnson showed that he was the better player, like Jay Crowder got in his feelings, was like, I want to be traded. So I don't think that now that he's gone that he's gonna want to come back. That's dead. But I think now when I think they'll drop a few games, just because I think that the chemistry will be tougher. I'm not sure who they're putting in the lineup for Cam now. Do you know?
No, I really haven't been paying attention to who they've been starting.
I think they'll be okay, but they won't be as good. They'll drop a few games while he's gone. If he's gone for 2 or 3 months, that could be a problem. Because I think he's averaging like a good 13 or so, 14 or so points. That's something that you're gonna miss. He's not the greatest defensive player, so I don't know exactly who they have to.
Torrey Craig is starting in replace of him.
Yeah. That's you're definitely dropping a few tiers in shooting. But
and also, sorry to butt in. I think Chris Paul might miss some time too. I think they said he had like a sore heel already. I'm like, yo, you only 10 games into the season.
I think that they are good. I think they're happy about that because I don't think they want to play Chris Paul, bro.
Until the playoffs.
On the low, I don't think they want to play him because they be pulling him in the fourth quarter sometimes.
I mean, he's a little older, and obviously teams pick on him. But
yeah, they picking on him, and they don't want him on the floor when they picking on him. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a blessing in disguise, but obviously you need his leadership. So I'm not going to disrespect him like that. But the Phoenix Suns are going to take some losses for sure. They're missing those two.
Yeah, I think they're going to dip to because I mean, right now the difference between 8th place and first place is only 3 games, and they're 1 place behind Utah Jazz out of all teams being number 1.
Yo, Jordan Clarkson, why you killing my Lakers like this, bro?
Not even Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen.
Oh yeah,
that boy been hooping.
AD, you need to get it together, bro. I'm not trying to see Lauri Markkanen take 2 dribbles from the 3-point line and score on you in the paint.
It's nasty.
You're doing crazy work.
It's actually very nasty. But shout out to Utah Jazz, man. Another injury that kind of just came about was Pascal Siakam. They said he may be out a minimum of 2 weeks with a right abductor strain. And right now, the Toronto Raptors currently sit 5th in the East, being 6-5. He's leading the team in points, rebound, and assists. 25 points per game, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 48% from the field, and 35% from the 3-point line. And yeah, they're going to be without him for a while. And the good news is that Fred VanVleet just came back as well too. But I mean, obviously they're kind of up and down. They got Nick Nurse, they got the culture intact and whatnot as well too. So I don't expect them to dip too much, especially with a lot of uncertainty, not only in the Eastern Conference but the NBA in general. Do you think they stay above 500 while he's out?
I mean,
Scotty Barnes got to step up.
Ah, man, damn, I was gonna say
I'm
that.
sorry.
I was just gonna say the real story is whether or not Scotty Barnes is going to elevate his game. I think this is a great time for him to step into that. You are a former number 3 overall pick, something around that area. I know he was like top 3, top 4. I think. Hey, it's time. You got a great chance to highlight your offensive game. I know it's not polished yet, but it's a time to get in there with Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. and see what you can do.
Yeah, like in no way should Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby have more shot attempts than you.
Facts, yeah, facts, and that's the thing. It was somebody else I was talking about that with. It was another former. Oh, yeah, no, that's not the same situation. I was gonna say James Wiseman because I know again, top 2 pick needs wants to get that contract. So I know that he probably wants his shots too, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well get into that as well too. I mean, what the fuck is going on with the Golden State Warriors? They're dead last in points allowed at 120 points per game. Yeah. They're number 3 in points per game, so that's kind of good as well too. But they've been getting smacked. I don't really understand like what's been going on. And right now, I mean, they won. Granted, they won the other night with a controversial call. The refs came back and said that the Kings basically they said Steph Curry traveled, and then that what's his name, Kevin Huerter, is that his name? Actually got fouled, so he should have went to the free throw line, and the game would have been different as well too. But right now, the Warriors are 12th in the Western Conference, the reigning champions, and they're 4-7. What do you think is going on with them right now, man?
Look, man, I think it's the classic new school versus the old school. Like, you remember, I think it was the 2004 Olympics when it was Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, and somebody
KG.
else. And then you had Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. You had the old NBA that's got championships, MVPs, and the up-and-coming guys who, want to show that they can do what they want to do as well. And it's just like, you think about it, James Wiseman is a number 2 overall pick. Now, we may not think he has, first team, second team, third team, all NBA skills, but he may think that, and he like, I see Clay, Draymond, and stuff get their money already. I'm trying to and Jordan Poole. I seen Jordan Poole get his money. At the end of the day,
hasn't been playing like he's worth that money.
No, not true. But I'm saying it's also about the reps because Kevon Looney is starting, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, it's like, I'm a number 2 pick. when am I going to start? Because Kevon Looney is not a number 2 pick, and as great as he is, and as great as he was for the championship teams, at some point, like, what's the word I'm trying to precedence or like prestige has to show, like, okay, Steve Kerr, like, I'm ready to show like that I can be dominant, or that I can, maybe be a DeAndre Ayton light, or whatever, whatever he thinks he is, you know what I mean? Like, and to let the new school or the players that you drafted start to blossom, because at some point, like, it does become about the money for players that want to start to establish their role and their image in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And I think that's clashing at a time where Klay Thompson's trying to get his image back. Draymond Green's like, oh, you think you getting money, Jordan Poole, bow, bow. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that is clashing, I think. And, hey, I love Steph, but you need to get it together. This is it. This is a chance for you to be, a leader in the locker room. I already know you got that Finals MVP. I love it. I already know. If my friends Chemezi and Melvin ever heard this, they're going to be like, don't talk about Steph, because they love Steph. But at the end of the day, you gotta rally the troops, because it's not going to look good if y'all are still losing record post-Christmas.
Yeah, and they're the defending champions, yes, which doesn't make sense.
Too much talent.
A lot of talent.
Golden boy coach that everybody talks about as golden boy. So,
yeah, I mean, if there's any team to turn around, I put house money on them as well too. But like you said, it could be something where it's the altercation that happened between Puppy Poole and Big Dog Draymond. That could be something as well too. Mm-hmm. The fact that they are champions, every team is going to come at their necks every single night, and I feel like the young ones haven't kind of realized that. And then also playing the young players a little bit more, trying to keep Steph, trying to keep Klay, trying to keep Draymond fresh for when it matters most. Kind of like the San Antonio Spurs treatment with the big three. I think all those things are kind of happening. And then like what you said, what you alluded to was players that haven't got paid, or players, Jordan Poole, who's gotten paid, are really trying to prove their worth as well too. So the chemistry just isn't there as well. But it seems like when Steph's on the floor, they're in good hands. When he's off the floor, there's such a minus in that category as far as defense and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. But like you said, I mean, I definitely put the blame on Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. They're basically the head of the snake. So we'll see what happens with that as well too. But that would be nasty if they're under 500 by Christmas time, and it's about to be mid-November before the blink of an eye. So it's gonna be real interesting with these, in general, with these NBA hyped up Christmas games, because that's when most people start tuning into watch the NBA.
That's when I tune in. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like before, I got on the pod. Like I was like, okay, well, I gotta tap into some earlier than usual. Mm-hmm. But because usually I'll tap into like the first 5 or 10 games of college basketball, and then by then it's Christmas time, and then I'm on NBA. So
interesting. Another Western Conference team that I kind of want to talk about, but more so the player, I guess the team and the player, is this guy right here. Can y'all see him? Mr. Fun Guy. Kawhi Leonard has only played 2 games. The Clippers are currently 7th in the West at being 6-5. And apparently, I guess Kawhi suffered stiffness in his knee 2 weeks ago against the Oklahoma City Thunder when he was warming up, so they pulled him off. And they sent him back to California, back to LA to kind of work on his knee. They have a new term. It's not load management. It's like right knee ACL management. I don't know what the type of load management is called right now, but apparently he's been participating in individual workouts, but there's really no time frame for Kawhi Leonard to come back. So he's missed his 7th straight game because of his right knee injury management. And he's expected to miss, the next upcoming games as well too. And it said here by Ty Lue, there's really not a time frame of what
Yo, that shit is so funny, bro. No timetable.
No timetable.
Right knee.
For when he's coming back. Clippers coach Tyler said when asked if Landon stats is considered more week to week than day to day now, the biggest thing is just the testing that he has to go through with the medical.
They called that boy day to day to week. Oh no.
The biggest thing is just the testing that he has to go through with the medical and the slow progression of just getting better every single day. And so we're just taking it day by day right now, not really a timetable. What are your thoughts on this whole situation with Mr. Load Management, aka my favorite player?
Hey, bro, you don't want to know my thoughts on it. Look, I heard, in my group message, this week, somebody said that Kawhi don't play unless he 100%. And I bust out laughing. Bro. I said, "Oh God, he don't." Like everybody in the NBA, I bet you, like even after a summer of like, just pickup games, everybody's starting the season at like maybe 95%, and then it obviously dwindles as the season goes on. This man wants to be at 100%. Every game. It is costing his team. It's costing his team. And I just, hey, I feel most sorry for Paul George because it's like, hey, like, he is coming down off of his prime as well. Like at some point, like these are your better games that you're ever going to have in your career. And it's like, I know Paul George wants to win a championship. Like I watched him in Indiana, like battle LeBron. Like I know he wants it. Whether he's good enough to do it on his own, obviously, has shown that that's not the case. He needs Kawhi. So I know, especially seeing that the organization across the hall isn't good, like this is a great time for them to, try to, get out on this window. The Warriors don't look like they're all that great either, so it just seems like a anybody's chance, especially in the first 10 games of the season. And it just doesn't look like Kawhi is willing to play through whatever it is going on with him.
Yeah, that's just kind of crazy. I mean, like, I don't know what a week or two will do when you've had, 18 months off. You've been working out all summer. I don't know what it is.
Anthony Davis playing through his back pain. So, I mean, what you want me to say?
Yeah, he is playing through his back pain. That's just an interesting topic. Like, I've gotten to the point where, I would always give him the benefit of the doubt because he's my favorite player. But now, just all right, dog. Like, come on, man. Like, you seem fine in those 2 games you played. Like, everything seemed fine. But I think he does have a history of, having, degenerative knees or some shit like that as well, too. But like you said, it's funny, but, that's actually factual. Like, this dude don't play unless he thinks he's 100%, unless it's the playoffs. But you like you said, you're being a detriment to your team because you're not building that camaraderie, that chemistry with them as well too. So I just don't want it to be a situation where you don't come back damn near until All-Star break and you have to figure some shit out on the fly. But Kawhi is one of those KDs, one of those Bronze. He's one of those players where you can plug in on any team and they'll figure it out. But it's better to kind of get those reps in and get familiarity with the team to kind of make that push as well too. I mean, right now they're 6-5. You mentioned they got Paul George, who's one of the top 20 players in the NBA. Depth is crazy. Marcus Morris, John Wall, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, Robert Covington. They have the pieces to be a playoff contending team. But if you don't have Kawhi, you're not going to get to the promised land. So it's day and night with him in the lineup and not in the lineup. So we'll kind of see what happens with that as well too. But Boardman, I know you already been getting paid, but come on, man. You're the reason why I got the season passes, and I ain't even get to see you. So I saw you actually on the bench, all black, sitting down. Your knees look fine. You got hype when you saw a dunk. It was good with you.
Yeah,
but
man, he all in them New Balance commercials, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, I guess so. Last time we were here, we talked about the Lakers' demise. We talked about Russell Westbrook's bad play. We talked about if we had to put our GM hats on. We talked about would Russ, potentially get blackballed and whatnot. he actually, like you predicted the first time that you were on here, that what the lineup should be, and I think you were kind of pretty accurate with it. But he's coming off the bench now, and for the season he's averaging 16, 6, and 6. With the last 6 games, he's averaged 19 points per game, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shooting 51% from the field, 48% from 3, 80% from the free throw line. Obviously, he has to cool it on the turnover. I think it's about at 4.5. But what do you attribute to his success with the Lakers? And I guess after that, man, even though he's doing great, you clearly can't point the fingers at him now. But tell me your thoughts on Russell Westbrook's resurgence in a sense, and the Lakers right now playing like some trash.
Well, I would like to say first and foremost, thank you to Russell Westbrook for, at least for now, seeming to have accepted your role of coming off the bench. That was huge. Not that it's going to save our season or anything like that, because it's not, but I just want to say you are now making the games a little bit more enjoyable, that I'm now watching you play the game that you seem to have fallen back in love with. The second part of your question was, what do I think is going to happen now?
Trade bait?
Yeah, so I really, really hope Rob Pelinka does not touch this team. I think I just need him to let it go its course. It's like watching a train wreck, and it's just like you just gotta let it go through. Yikes. You just gotta let it go through. I don't want to see Russell Westbrook traded for a player or two that have 2 or 3 year deals, like, for example, Gordon Hayward or Terry Rozier, or I know Miles Turner actually is a free agent next year, so that might be okay. I'm not sure what Buddy Hield's contract looks like, but I don't want to see players that are going to have to be on the team next year, especially after they traded Talon Horton-Tucker for the
Dunk was crazy.
For the reason of cap flexibility. I just want it to be done. I want Russell to come off the books, and I want them to try to give it one more go with whoever they can sign for that $40 million deal. So just let the season go. It's all like, we're, as Laker fans, we're gonna get on Twitter, we're gonna complain that, like, oh my God, like, we can't hit 3-pointers, and oh my God, we're playing Wayne Gabriel against Jokic, and like, it is what it is. This is what you sign up for when you trade your depth for a player that makes $40 million. It's like what Darvin Ham said in the post game conference. It's like you have 3 players that take up the majority of the cap space. Excuse me. And then whatever you have that's left is what's left. You have players on minimum deals or players that you drafted in the second round, and like, that's just what's left. And you just have to you have to reap what you sowed on that trade, let it go out, not use him for trade bait. Like, that's dead. No GM is going to fall for that. Every GM knows that Russell Westbrook is who he is, and he's going to turn over the ball. He's going to maybe average 16 to 18 a game, and he can't shoot. Like, nobody's signing up for that. Nobody. There's not a team other than a team that's maybe, trying to sell again, tank for Victor. But do you want those players on your team? Do those players on those bad teams make your team any better or more formidable for the playoffs? The answer is no. Rob, don't do it. Just relax. So that's my answer. They will be lucky to win 35 games, and they have one more year. The only reason why they don't need to blow it up like Kevin Durant and them over at the Nets is because they have a route to a solution for next year only. And if it doesn't work, then they need to blow up the team. But that's the only reason why I say not to blow it up this year. But yeah, the Russell Westbrook thing, just let it run its course. It's fine. We don't need to win the championship this year. They're not winning the championship. They have to know that. So just let it ride, and we'll see what happens next year, honestly.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I agree with you. Let it ride. I mean, I know LeBron's getting older, but it may be one of those things where they got to fake an injury. This was going to happen. Once he breaks the all-time leading scorer, he's going to have some injury where he's going to sit out. Anthony Davis probably not going to play 60 games. Therefore, I'm going to have to buy you shoes at retail price. And they just going to let Russ rock. Y'all the third worst team in the NBA with 3 superstars. Like, that's actually crazy. If you'd have told me back in August that the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers would be way better than y'all, I'd have been like,
Pelicans.
And Pelicans. I mean, I kind of knew what the Pelicans was going to be like in a sense, but like, I thought from just the atrocity in which you guys were last year, y'all would be at least a little bit above 500, just clawing every single night. You know what I'm saying? But that's definitely not the case. But y'all good enough to get Victor and still have AD and Bron, and like you said, let Russ rock, get 2 or 3 pieces with him, and then maybe House Money and LeBron, rise off on the coattails. But shout out to Russ playing well, showcasing that humility and being about the team. And in a way, even if he doesn't get traded, between now and the deadline, he's showing, because you kind of alluded to this or talked about it last episode, where like you have to be willing to do what's for the betterment of the team if you want to stay in the NBA. So he's proven right now that he can be a valuable asset next year to a contending team if he buys into this role as well too. So we're gonna see what's good with that for sure. I guess my last thing before we, end the podcast for today, we talked about the Warriors, we talked about the Lakers, we talked about the Clippers, and even, Eastern Conference, runner-ups with the Miami Heat. Like, why do you think, and we thought Minnesota was going to be good, like, why do you think there's so much ebb and flow with these teams and their records to start the season with this 10 to 11 game sample size?
Good question, man. I think that might be the only question I don't really have the answer to right now. I think, you're seeing a lot of teams that have been together for a while, like Miami. Minnesota's obviously had Cat for a while now. And it might just be, again, old voices, Sometimes, that's what happened with Utah last year. You ultimately, hit your ceiling, or you kind of stop believing in that roster, or hey, you see Tyler Hero get a contract, should I get a contract next? Like, it might be a lot of anything. It could be team chemistry, who knows. It seems like the teams that are faring well right now seem to have the best chemistry. When I watch Cleveland play, they're out there smiling, they're cheering for each other on the bench. It's like that Brooklyn Nets team that didn't have a superstar on it, but like they were always cheering on the bench and always having memes. It's like even the teams that don't have that much talent, like the Utah Jazz, seem to be happier playing together, and those are the teams that are being led to wins. Whereas the Golden State Warriors or teams that don't have that chemistry or seem to be having a little bit of jealousy in the locker room seem to be having a little bit more trouble.
No, that's interesting. I'd have to agree with you. If I had to point to a couple of things, definitely the chemistry within these teams as well, too. Ego and what you kind of contested to with the contract situations, playing time, accepting their roles, contentness in a sense, too. And then just from other teams, they just have improved. They've been looking at tape. They've wanted to get better, and they just are hungry to compete and make a run and be playoff contending teams. So, like I said, it's pretty early. I feel like you said, we shouldn't really judge teams until about Christmas time. So it's a month and a half, man. These teams that we've grown accustomed to, step your shit up. Like, come on, man. But it's just crazy how we're seeing like that transition, like you said earlier, with these old heads slowly getting kicked out, and the new heads are the ones that are on top right now. So it's kind of crazy. I never thought I would kind of see that, but you just never know with the NBA. So any closing remarks or anything?
Shout out to my girl Siobhan. I know you gonna be watching this. You always be watching all the episodes first thing in the morning. We appreciate your support.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Siobhan. And holidays coming up. If you ain't spoken to your family all year or whatever, speak to your family. They love you. and call your mom, call your dad, because, at the end of the day, you never know, what can happen in this world. And, you just want to make sure you stay close to your family members, not only during the holidays, but, all year long. So that's my closing remark, just to make sure y'all stay close to your family. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, there's really not that much to say, but always try to plan ahead and realize that every human being, regardless of the situation, has 24 hours in the day to make an impact to better themselves, their loved ones. So utilize that. Time management is key, and just having belief in yourself and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals and not being ignorant, staying curious, and just wanting to improve yourself. So that's all I got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 122 of The Seezus Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at The Seezus Show, at Sirseezus, at Terrence Whaley _. We are out.